I've got 10 amazing things written down. So if you are wanting some inspiration for your marketing, grab a pen and paper because you're going to get loads of ideas. Now, if you're an aspiring hypnobirthing teacher, still grab a pen and paper because no doubt if you do go on to become a hypnobirthing teacher, you will love to be full of ideas of stuff that you can talk about when singing the praises of hypnobirthing to get those clients. Okay, so let's start straight away. Number one amazing thing about hypnobirthing is the fact that it is hypnosis, that it involves hello Cheryl, that it involves hypnotherapy for birth. You know, and the reason I've included this is because sometimes I think, morning Christina, people actually shy away from that. You know, they feel a bit nervous that bit, the hypno, is going to put people off. So they totally shy away from talking about the actual power of that thing. You know, and this is my reminder to you that this is what makes hypnobirthing so very special. You know, it's that subconscious transformation that they're not going to get on any other courses. Yes, maybe they're doing another well-known antenatal program here in the UK. Maybe they're doing that. But they're not going to get the subconscious transformation that they're going to get through a hypnobirthing course. Okay. So letting people know about that. Letting people know that one of the incredible things about hypnobirthing is the hypno. Yes, they don't need to be afraid of it. Okay. Absolutely, it's not like the clucking chicken stuff. It's nothing like the stage show stuff that perhaps are making the assumptions about. But in actual fact, hypnosis has been used for years in all sorts of things. Like people powerfully use it to stop smoking, for fear of flying, for dealing with anxiety. You know, the wonderful thing about hypnobirthing is that we are using hypnosis to let go of limiting beliefs about birth, which means that on the day they're so much more likely to feel emotionally safe. Okay, that is powerful stuff, and I really recommend that we talk about that. You know, we talk about that bit that makes it so special. Good morning, Ashley. Morning, Amy. Lovely to hear from you. Karen, gorgeous to see you. Michelle too. Oh, lovely. So great to see so many. Halida too, and Haley's. It's like all the H's today. So, yes. Let me know, okay, in the chat box if you do shy away from talking about that, okay? Do you shy away from talking about the hypno? Let this be your reminder to do it. If you've trained with me, go back to the hypnosis module, okay? Watch the first video, okay, that isn't very long, and it will remind you of that power and talk about it, okay? Quick question, is it my internet or Abby? Oh no, I hope it's your internet, Christina, not mine. Oh, please let me know, everybody, if you can hear me and see me okay. My internet does tend to be a bit tricky. Oh, Amy says I'm clear. Phew. I've like told all children to get off the internet, get off devices so I can have it. So Ashley says, I've been talking about it, but I feel like I'm repeating myself. I definitely need to come at it from a different angle. It's fine for me. Oh, brilliant. So, you know what? It's okay to repeat. Repetition in marketing is important, okay? But definitely think about, okay, what potential clients need to hear about it, okay? Think about what side of it, you know, so rather than going down the whole science of it, letting them know really clearly that this is really transformational stuff. You know, if they are feeling scared, if they are feeling apprehensive about birth, simply talking themselves out of it or reading a book to give themselves more education about birth isn't going to be enough, because it's not going to go to those deeper layers. And that's why we want to talk about the hypno bit. Okay, I find it hard to get couples to listen to the audios. They are fully engaged in everything else, but they don't seem to listen to the tracks. That's so interesting, Amy, and I'm going to talk about that then in another video. Okay, I'll come on into the circle to talk about that, because there's definitely some tweaks that you could perhaps make to your course where you're really showing how powerful it is, so that they've got that real motivation. So I'll talk about that definitely in our group a bit later on. Okay. Number 2, okay, really useful, amazing thing is hypnobirthing can shorten labour. Okay. Now, we know, don't we, as people that know lots about childbirth, you know, aiming for a quick birth isn't necessarily what people need, is it? But often, because people are so fearful of birth, they kind of think, oh, a quicker birth would be the best thing possible for me. Okay. Now, there's a term in marketing, and you might have heard it before. Okay. Tell people what they want, give them what they need. Okay, let me just repeat that for you. Okay, tell people what they want, but give them what they need. Okay, so most likely some of your potential clients will be like, oh, shorter labour, let me read more about that. Okay, now that doesn't necessarily mean, okay, that we tell them lies. We don't. Okay, but in actual fact, hypnobirthing can shorten labour compared to a birth that doesn't involve hypnobirthing, because it optimises the hormones, doesn't it? You know? So by talking about the fact that hypnobirthing can shorten labour, you get their attention. And then if you talk about why that can happen, you're really showing them that, oh my God, this is something that could really have an impact on my childbirth experience. Okay. I mean, my goodness, there's so much you could talk about in terms of why it could shorten labour. Okay. Now, of course, we know that, you know, a long labour doesn't have to be a horrendous labour at all. And, you know, some people do hypnobirthing and have a long labour and they're like, wow, I absolutely nailed it because of hypnobirthing. Okay. But there's some really strong reasons why it can. So, for example, I talked about it optimising hormones, you know, really allows that oxytocin to flow and keeps adrenaline at bay. Okay. Obviously, they learn about the process of birth so that they know how to work with their body. You know, simple things like knowing about movement, knowing about birth positions. This might be stuff that they didn't know about before. Obviously, talking about the impact of relaxation. You know, a relaxed body is more likely to work more efficiently than a tense body. Okay. So definitely talking about how hypnobirthing can impact on the length of labour could be an incredible thing to talk about in your marketing. Okay. Number 3, okay, and again, this is on the same lines of telling people what they want, you know, really meeting potential clients where they're at. Like, what are they looking for? You know, if your potential client is somebody who is dreading childbirth because they're thinking, oh my God, I might not be able to cope. I've heard this about it. I've heard that about it. You know, a really good thing to talk about. And again, this is really going back to basics. Talking about actually when people do hypnobirthing, often they have less need, okay, less need for pain relief, okay. Of course, hypnobirthing isn't against pain relief. There's no guarantees. I know the topic of pain and hypnobirthing can often be, what's the word? Often be like misunderstood, as if like you do hypnobirthing and that means that, you know, you're not allowed to talk about pain and you're not going to experience pain and all that. But there have been studies to show that people who have done hypnobirthing in pregnancy, okay, are less likely to have strong pain relief, Okay, it doesn't mean they're not allowed to have it. It means they are less likely to feel the need. Why is that? Well, again, it goes back to the optimizing of hormones. It goes back to the idea that, you know, they've got so many other tools. You know, they're not going in to labour kind of thinking, right, I'll just, you know, have whatever's available to me, you know, whatever someone offers me. They're going in with a whole bank of tools that they can use themselves first. And you know what? Then if they want, you know, some really strong pharmaceutical pain relief, fabulous, have it. But they've also got things that they could potentially use instead. Now, I've worked with so many clients that actually that was their driving force for doing a hypnobirthing course, because they were fearful of some of the pain relief methods, you know, some of the pharmaceutical pain relief methods. So therefore they wanted to have all the tools available to them so that they had less like need for an epidural, less need for stuff like opiates, like pethidine and things like that. Maybe that's because they've had a previous bad reaction. Maybe it's because they're fearful of needles, all sorts of things, okay? But definitely talking about how hypnobirthing, okay, can mean there is less need for pharmaceutical pain relief. It's definitely a selling point, okay? Number 4, are you talking about this? How, by doing a hypnobirthing course and practicing the tools, because as we know, it's not just about attending a course, is it? It's about the work that goes on beyond it. Is fantastic ways to bond with your baby before birth, okay? Prenatal bonding is a big deal, okay? And hypnobirthing, sorry, I'm just looking at the child creeping down the steps. Are you okay, Lachlan? A snack? Yeah, go on then. You can ask me whatever right now, can't you? And I'm just going to say, yeah. What were I saying? Prenatal bonding is a big thing. You know, bonding with baby before birth can certainly impact bonding beyond that. It can enhance the experience of pregnancy. You know, there's so many benefits of that prenatal bonding, and hypnobirthing absolutely is a wonderful way of connecting with baby before birth. Okay, that was number 4. Number 5, okay, are you talking about this? How wonderful hypnobirthing is for people who have already had babies, that perhaps their first, second, whatever number baby it was, their experience wasn't what they wanted. You know, perhaps they describe it as traumatic. Now, hypnobirthing is not therapy to let go of those feelings. That's not what it's about, okay? However, it is an incredible course for really showing people what they can control for next time, helping them see that this time can be very different. Okay, helping them approach this birth with confidence, letting go of some of the fear, okay, really, really positive. Like, let me know in the comments if you have worked with people who've had previous traumatic births that are just like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd have found hypnobirthing first time round. I've heard that so many times. My God, why didn't I know this? If only I'd have had these tools first time round, okay? Talking about that, using those quotes, you know? That client that said, oh my gosh, if only I'd have known this last time. Use that quote, because that really shows first time parents, doesn't it? That this is a big deal, okay? So, okay, what number are we on? We're on number 6. Okay, number 6 is, it changes mindsets for life. Hypnobirthing is not just about childbirth education, is it? You know, absolutely it includes loads of that, 100%. Amazing birth education. However, a lot of it is to do with the mindset stuff too. Really thinking about the way we talk to ourselves, the way we use language, the way we approach big things in life. Now, of course, that's incredible for childbirth, amazing, but actually it goes way beyond that. You know, I really think for me, you know, I found hypnobirthing, 11 years ago when I was pregnant with my first baby. And yeah, it shifted my whole mindset, around childbirth and made such a massive difference. But those mindset, I nearly said mindset shifts are with me today, letting go of what I can't control, focusing on what I can. A big example is that the other day, it was my husband's 40th birthday. We'd been planning this family party for weeks. It was all outdoors. Well, it peed it down, didn't it? And I could see in the days running up, oh my God, it's going to pee it down. Okay. What have I learned from hypnobirthing? Well, I've learned that we focus on what we can control and we let go of what we can't. I can't control the weather, unfortunately, but I definitely can control how I deal with it, And that mindset shift sticks for life. Mindset shifts around being the decision maker in pregnancy spill out to that mindset shift of being the decision maker and being sure on your instincts and all these kind of things for parenting too, which is incredible. Okay. So, number 7. Okay. Number 7, what could you talk about next? Well, talking about the fact that doing a hypnobirthing course, okay, enhances the experience of being pregnant, Think of people's lives these days. Talking about my husband's party, somebody who I'm going to say who it was, and she hadn't even announced the pregnancy, so I bet it's not. But someone who came along to the party was pregnant, and being pregnant is so secondary, isn't it, to everything else in life these days, because it's about continuing with working as long as you possibly can, doing this, focusing on the child that you've already got. And I was really thinking about that when I was talking to her, thinking how sad that was that, this amazing rite of passage is often really downplayed, okay? Doing a hypnobirthing course is an incredible experience in pregnancy. Can you, if you did a hypnobirthing course yourself in pregnancy, can you remember that wonderful experience of going to that class, spending time with your birth partner, having this dedicated time thinking, oh my gosh, we're having a baby. But beyond that, I loved being pregnant maybe that's why I did it 4 times, for the fact it made me do all those lovely things, go to bed early, put on my audios, smell my little anchor scent. All those things made my pregnancy feel so special. Okay, so special. And in this day and age, where actually we're often going, we often don't take that moment to stop and be, And hypnobirthing absolutely makes people do that in their pregnancy. Okay, it gives them the accountability to do that in their pregnancy, which, yes, of course it impacts on their birth, Relaxation, being in that state of self-hypnosis has to be built. It's a skill, it needs developing. But beyond all the birth stuff, actually, in the moment, that is so special, Life is about experiences, isn't it? It's about magic moments, and I really believe that hypnobirthing brings that magic back to pregnancy. you know, brings that, you know, self-care perhaps to expectant mums, which is so, so valuable. Okay. Let me know if you talk about that. Okay. Do you talk about that? Do your clients say things like that? Could you use those quotes? Could you tell those stories? You know, could you tell that story of the busy mum that was like, oh my gosh, you know, I've already got several children, and actually like this pregnancy was really secondary to everything. And now actually I'm taking that moment to connect with my baby, and I feel so much more peaceful and calm and happy. You know, can you tell that story? So next, what have we got now? Okay, are we on number 8 already? Wow. Number 8. Now, I know lots of people talk about this. Okay, so you probably don't even need the reminder. But absolutely talking about the fact that hypnobirthing helps people know their options. If they don't know their options, they don't have any, do they? You know? They know what choices they have. They get taught how to ask questions. All this stuff, super, super powerful. Okay. Now, if we think about it from a marketing perspective, let me just have a swig of tea before it goes cold. If we think about it from a marketing perspective, isn't it easy to be like, oh, right, okay, I'm telling them that they can say no, you can decline this, you can do that. And I get it, okay? But let's meet people where they are. Really think about the types of clients that you attract and you want to attract, okay? Because it is really important that our marketing really speaks to them, okay? And they're hearing it in the way that you really mean it, okay? So when I was, you know, my business was focused on expectant parents, the vast majority of people that I used to attract, okay, mix of first time and subsequent parents, but most of them, quite honestly, didn't really know there was going to be big decisions to make, okay? So actually going down the route in my marketing of like, you can say no to this, you can ask questions about that, okay? If you want this, you can have it. I'm not sure that would particularly appeal to them, because inside they'd have probably thought like, oh, but I don't know if I want to ask questions. I don't see that that would be a big deal. I don't see that I'd ever want to question anybody in a professional capacity. That's where they were at before they do a course. So if I wanted to talk about how hypnobirthing opens people up to all the choices, the angle I used to go with was, okay, if you are somebody that wants to feel in control, you know, and the thought of childbirth feels quite scary because it feels like, oh my gosh, something is going to be done to me. Actually, a hypnobirthing course will help you understand, okay, lots of things that you can control yourself. That's the route I went down, okay, because for my dream clients, that met them where they were at, okay? That helped them see that, oh, actually, these thoughts that I'm having, that, oh my God, I normally can control everything in my life and I can't this, hypnobirthing would help them with those feelings, help inform them that actually they do have choice, okay? What choices do they have? You know, if actually there's somebody that does like planning things and they've written that off for childbirth because everybody's told them that you can't control childbirth, you can't plan for it, you can't do that, you just have to like go with the flow. This really helps them see, okay, so actually there's gonna be things that I can plan, you know, and as somebody that planned my wedding to the T, this might really, really like land with them. Okay. Love to know what you think of that. Karen's talking about the previous one when she says, definitely, I still talk about my births many years later and the births of grandchildren as clients still ask. Oh, I love that, Karen. Stories are so powerful, aren't they? You know, they really land with people in a way that facts and figures just don't. Okay. So, we are on number 9. Okay. So another amazing thing about hypnobirthing to absolutely talk about is the fact that it is wonderful for babies too. Yeah? Of course, we can be so focused on the fact that, you know, hypnobirthing helps parents feel really empowered, helps them have a great experience. But, you know, being born is a big deal for babies too. Okay, and actually, you know, you put into Google, okay, prenatal stress on babies, and you will find so many studies, so much out there that talks about how, you know, when somebody is expecting a baby, their levels of stress do impact that baby. Okay, so actually, you know, somebody doing hypnobirthing, yeah, they're going to benefit massively, but that impact of that calm, of that reduced cortisol level will impact their baby too, which is incredible. And if you think about what people will spend on babies, you know, my goodness, they will spend all sorts. Feels a bit trickier when it's themselves, doesn't it? So definitely talking about the fact that hypnobirthing is for babies too. You know, a calmer mum leads to less cortisol for baby. Okay. And there's been studies, I mean, that even suggest that, you know, mums that have experienced, you know, really high levels of stress are more likely to have preterm labours, smaller babies. There's associations with mental health later down the line for babies. You know, obviously we're talking about extreme stress there, but if that can happen, like, of course, like having a calmer pregnancy is going to be great for baby too. Okay. But as well, like having a birth experience that is positive impacts how those people go out and be parents, doesn't it? You know, I know for a fact that, like, I would be a different parent today had I had, like, the births that I probably would have had if I hadn't have found hypnobirthing. I really believe that if I hadn't have found hypnobirthing, I was so fearful, so uninformed, so, like, just burying my head in the sand, I would have had a very, very, very different birth experience. What would that have meant for my child and then, like, our future family? Would I be celebrating my baby's fourth birthday? I really don't think I'd have had 4 kids. I really think, like, the ease of, like, wanting, like, a bigger family came from those incredible experiences and the empowerment that I felt beyond that. Okay. So the knock-on effect. Okay. So Frankie's talking about, love the spin on it, about the calm babies. Absolutely, we should certainly be talking about that, you know? And definitely give prenatal stress and babies a Google and you'll find all sorts of facts, okay? Frankie says, also love the idea that it enhances baby's birth experience as well if mum feels calm during birth. 100%. 100%. And, you know, when people learn more about their choices and see things from a different perspective, it helps them make decisions, doesn't it? That are not only going to be, you know, better for them, but potentially better for their baby too, you know? Being informed about interventions, for example, helps them think about like, oh, right, there's two sides of things. What are the two sides for my baby as well? You know? So definitely talking about the impact on babies, not just parents. Okay. And finally, number 10, okay, really talking about how hypnobirthing is a toolkit for all births, you know? And yeah, you might be like, oh, that's blooming obvious. But it's often not obvious for the people that have just stumbled across hypnobirthing, that have potentially made all sorts of assumptions about what it is and what it isn't, and who it's for and who it's not. So really talking about it as a toolkit, okay? Really talking about how those tools are going to be powerful however you choose to birth, or however your birth goes on the day, okay? Having calm and empowered cesareans, yes, that's what hypnobirthing is for. Having, you know, a drug-free home birth, absolutely that's what hypnobirthing is for. Having a hospital birth with an epidural, with synthetic oxytocin, that's absolutely what hypnobirthing is for, because it's a toolkit. You know, it's not something that, you know, you let go of because there's been a twist and turn, that there's been a change in direction. It's there for you. And in some ways, my goodness, I'd say like when something goes down a different path, like having tools to stay calm, having, you know, a mindset of I know what I can control and I let go of what I can't, that's going to be even more important, you know, even more powerful if birth was to go down a different path. So absolutely talking about it being for all birth experiences, supportive of all choices, you know, a calm cesarean, you know, a calm induction, a calm, you know, hospital birth, home birth, birth centre birth, that is what it's for. It's for childbirth, you know, and it's for beyond that. Okay, so I really hope that has been super useful. And I tell you what, this live has been inspired by. Well, it's been inspired by the fact that recently I've just taken on somebody who is going to be, she's an amazing lady, and she's going to be helping me with my Instagram content, okay? And as part of her like learning about the business and stuff like that, she was asking me a lot of questions, okay? And you know, she was getting me to think about some of my content too. And a lot of the questions that she was asking were this back to basic stuff. And it made me really realise that often when we've been marketing our businesses for a long time, we move away from the basic stuff, the stuff that people actually want to hear about. And we almost make things more complicated, and we feel like we need to be saying brand new stuff than what we were saying 4 months ago. And we don't, you know? And, you know, the whole thing about marketing is really helping people understand why this thing that you've got, you know, whatever the thing that you've got, you know, if you were selling a candle, you're letting the people know why this candle is gonna be great for them, okay? So in terms of hypnobirthing, you are letting people know why hypnobirthing is gonna be great for them, why it's meeting their needs that they have. Those thoughts, those feelings, those concerns that they have right now, you're letting them know why hypnobirthing is like the solution for that. That's what good, effective marketing is, okay? Because we know it. We know that hypnobirthing makes such a difference to people, okay? But still, some people will not see that it is the thing that they need, okay? So we do have to be banging the drum for it, okay? And we have to be bold. Like, we do have to say, you know, hypnobirthing can help your baby have a calmer birth. Yeah, notice I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's true. It can help them. Okay. So let me know in the comments your one thing that's really sparked, you know, a bit of a zest. I can't think of a better word. A bit of a like spark that I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about this today. Let me know which one of those 10 things has really got you thinking, oh my God, I need to talk about that. Okay, let me know in the comments. Oh, you are so welcome, Sonica. Oh, Amy's off to Canva now. Oh, I'm glad you've got lots of ideas. Ali says she's going to got a new post coming. Hypnobirthing is good for your baby too. Oh, I love that. I love that that was a really good bit of inspiration for you there, Ali. Fabulous. I shall look forward to seeing that post, Ali. So yeah, let me know in the chat what your number one, like, inspiration from that has been. And really importantly, don't just write it down, close your book and do something else. Get making the post now, or take to your social media and go live and talk about it for a few minutes. Done is better than perfect. And if we wait, you know, that inspiration dwindles, we talk ourselves out of it, so act now. Okay. Christina says, being good for the baby, definitely a great selling point, 100%. Okay. If you think about anything else, in the birth and baby world, often the emphasis is on the baby. Now, we know hypnobirthing is wonderful for parents, and we are very parent-centric, aren't we? But often parents are looking for something that is going to help their baby, because sadly, people think that it's a better investment, isn't it, their baby than themselves. You know, people struggle putting themselves as important. Okay. Many thanks, Abby. You are welcome, Karen. I had been asked how hypnobirthing could help, and I found it too technical. Back to basics I go. Absolutely. Really think about the fact you are talking to people who, you know, imagine you're talking to someone who doesn't know anything at all about hypnobirthing. We do want to strip back the technical stuff. You're not talking to other doulas, to other hypnobirthing teachers. You're not talking to midwives. You are talking to the average expectant parent that probably knows very, very little about childbirth, about hypnobirthing. Strip it back and you'll really be meeting people where they're at.